guys, it's Lexi. Thank you so much for tuning into this first official themed video of my Welcome to the Wax World series. So in this video, I'm going to be touching on why we choose to melt wax over burning candles, what vendor wax is, and all of the terms that you may hear while you are part of this wax community. So let's start this off with talking about why wax. So obviously you guys have kind of stumbled into this video, whether you are brand new or if you guys are experienced wax melters, you obviously have your own reasoning behind why you decided to melt wax over burning candles, or maybe you do both like me. I know personally from my own experience that melting wax is something that allows me to have fragrance in my home going 24/7. So with a candle, I really have found that it needs a lot of babysitting. You need to be really cautious and on top of knowing, if it has been burning too long, if the wicks have been drifting, if it's maybe tunneling and you need to cotton ball it. And there are just so many things that just add to the stress of burning a candle. I definitely think burning candles are great for a lot of reasons, but I have found that melting wax gives me a lot of peace of mind. I kind of just drop it and go, be on my merry way, and it also allows my home just to smell beautiful all the time. So that's a big benefit. So please let me know in the comments below, what are your reasonings behind why you choose to melt wax? The second thing is, when it comes to melting wax, there are a ton of possibilities and variety. Once I started melting or burning Bath & Body Works candles. That was really the beginning of it all. And I loved it. And I loved the different, creative blends that they had for different candles. However, once I discovered the vendor wax world, I saw just every single possibility of scent that was already blended or things that you could custom blend on your own, and my eyes just got so wide. I remember being like, whoa, this is amazing, because I just was like, this is creative freedom. Like, I get to be, the person in charge of making these blends. I could really do that. And on top of that, the wax world over the candles, they have such cute shapes, fun colors, themed releases for different things, and just endless possibilities. So it really just got me excited. So before I dive into all of the details of the vendor wax world, I should explain what vendor wax is and what retail wax is. So retail wax is wax that you can find at Walmart or drugstores or different brands. I know for a little while Bath & Body Works did offer wax melts, and I know Goose Creek also offers wax melts. So large brands and big companies that offer wax melts, typically found in clamshells, which are like a little plastic container with 6 little squares in it. That is retail wax. So it's a large company. Vendor wax is when a small business decides to sell their own wax products. So these are not these large corporations. They're not producing mass amounts of wax. They're just doing, a fairly good size amount of wax for a smaller customer base. However, vendor wax compared to retail wax, there are worlds of differences between those two. So when it comes to retail wax, so the things that you find in Walmart, Better Homes and Gardens, Sensational, stuff like that, those wax companies, they have a set amount of things that they do. So they will do new releases, but for the most part, they are releasing mostly the same things each year or each season. Occasionally they will offer different things, but they really have kind of narrowed down on different scents that they offer. However, when it comes to vendor wax, you are constantly getting new releases, new blends that are, mixed together. You are getting scents that you maybe could mix on your own. You are getting really fun shapes. You are getting really fun colors. And you are getting all of these different companies, all of these small businesses who have their own very niche styles. And you're getting all of that and backed up with all of their awesome customer service. So you are getting the full treatment really when you shop small And that is a big reason why I love vendor wax. I love supporting small businesses. I love supporting people's dreams. I love the creativity that I can see people putting into all of their wax. I think it is so much fun. And another thing about vendor wax is vendor wax comes with a lot of different terms. So when I first started melting vendor wax, I was so confused. I was like, what are all of these like weird TAT, RTS, pre-order, like what does it all mean? I was so lost. I was so confused. But I figured that this video would be the perfect one to really break down all of these different terms. If you guys have any terms that I'm not going to touch on, please leave them in a comment below. I will absolutely get back to you and respond, as at least if I know what the things mean. So let's start with different ways of ordering. So when you shop small and you order through a wax vendor, you are typically going to see two different types of ways you can shop. So you can shop with a RTS or a pre-order. So those two things are, an RTS stands for a ready to ship. So all of the things that are offered that you see listed, those are things that have already been poured, they are already made, and they are ready to just be packaged up and sent directly to you. Typically, it's a smaller time frame when you place the order to when you receive it, and that term for when you place the order to when you receive it is known as a TAT. Some people call it a TAT. Some people just call it a TAT, or it is technically meant, what it means is it is a turnaround time. So when you place the order to when it is shipped, that is the TAT, the TAT, the turnaround time. The other way of ordering that is not a RTS or ready to ship, that is a pre-order. So when you order with a pre-order through a wax vendor, you are placing your order of the thing that you want, like the scent that you want, and then that vendor is going to go ahead and make the amount that you ordered. They pour it because you requested it. So that typically, there's a lot longer of a turnaround time because none of the wax has been made yet. So when you order a ready to ship, you're probably most likely going to get it very quickly. Hopefully you get it very quickly because it is already made. When you order from a ready to ship, it could be up to a couple months before you even get that package. So there are huge pluses and minuses to both of those ordering styles. So if you guys do choose to order from a ready to ship style, an RTS, that means you need to be very fast with your fingers, because imagine there is only a limited quantity of wax that has already been poured, and all of you like customers are trying to get the same thing. So oftentimes a lot of people are left a little upset because when you have an RTS, everything flies, like it just goes very quickly. Another term that you might hear that I know a lot of people don't like is a Hunger Games style, and that is what people are talking about when they order from a RTS or a ready to ship. So if you guys haven't seen the Hunger Games series, pretty much it just means it's like crazy, chaotic, everyone just kind of grabs things. Things will most likely, if you're not very, very fast, things will jump out of your cart, or you will lose an item that you may have had in your cart. Somebody else may purchase it, it may sell out. So that form of ordering, especially if you are new to vendor wax, may be completely frustrating to you. For some people, it's exciting, it gets your blood going, you're pumped, and it's a bit of a thrill to see what you can get. However, if you really have your hopes on getting something and you lose it from your cart and it sells out, it may be a huge disappointment. So one thing that I do suggest is, if you are new to vendor wax and you haven't ever experienced a ready to ship, definitely be prepared to lose something. Don't get your hopes up because it is so common. I've lost things before in my cart. It happens to all of us. So I definitely suggest shopping with a pre-order. So obviously when you shop with a pre-order, you are going to have a longer turnaround time, but that turnaround time does vary from vendor to vendor. Certain vendors open, less frequently, so their turnaround times are a little bit longer, and they might have a larger customer base. Some vendors open very often with their pre-orders, so they might have a shorter turnaround time, and it completely varies. So definitely look into each vendor's turnaround time with their pre-orders, and make your choices off of that. Let's talk a little bit more about certain terms you might hear in the vendor wax world, and also when you are watching different vendor wax videos here on YouTube. So you guys might hear the terms throw, on cold, and on warm. So to break down all of those terms, when you receive your wax and it is in the form that it was shipped to you, and you smell it in the bag, or you smell it in the clamshell that it was in, or wherever you smell it, as long it is not touching heat, it is cold. That wax is not heated up. It is, you were smelling it on cold. So that is what that means. However, when you go ahead and take that wax and you place it into a wax melter and it forms a liquid pool, that wax is warm. So, it seems obvious, but at first I had no idea what any of that meant. So once the wax is fully heated up and it is a liquid pool in your dish, the performance of the wax can also be heard, or the term throw is often used. And what that means is just how strong the wax is performing in your house, how much of the space the scent fills, how far you can smell the wax from. It really just shows the strength of the wax. So if you put something in the warmer and you don't really smell it when you walk into the room, that means it has a light throw. So on the opposite side, if you put something in your warmer and it is all you can smell and it is super strong and it smells great or bad, then that means it has a strong throw. So you might hear light throw, you might hear strong throw, you might hear throw you out of the house. I know that's another term some people use. It just means it is very strong. It is a very potent wax. It is doing its job. It's doing well. Another thing you guys might hear often are different terms that are used for options of changing the wax out. So you might hear the cotton ball method, you might hear the freezer method, you might hear the hot dump method, you might hear the ice cube method, and there are a ton of different things, and I am absolutely going to be talking about that entire thing in a whole separate video, and I will be showing you guys all of the different options and things that you can do to change your wax. But all of those are different terms. So cotton ball, you literally use a cotton ball to soak up your wax. Freezer, you just stick your dish in the freezer. Hot dump, you're pouring it out. Different things like that. So I will absolutely go over those in a separate video and show you guys what those are, but those are things you might hear as well. When it comes to storing your wax, you might hear some people talking about poly bags, and that's also going to be another separate video. But poly bags are, it stands for polypropylene bags. And those are the very specific types of bags that you need to store your wax in. Unfortunately, wax is a little temperamental, and when it comes to storage, you definitely need to store them in certain types of plastic bags, because if you just store it in a good old Ziploc bag, the scent will actually be leached from the wax. So it can actually do more harm than help. And another thing you might hear is double bagging. That's something that I know I personally do a ton of with my wax collection. And that is when you literally just put 2 polypropylene bags over your wax, and it helps keep the scent a little bit longer. So finally, the last thing I want to touch on before I let you guys go are all of the terms and the things that you may find that are certain fragrance oils within vendor wax. So when I first started buying vendor wax, I saw all of these names of things that just made no sense to me. For instance, cupcakes at Tiffany's within a blend. I didn't know what that meant. Certain names that had fragrances within that specific oil. I didn't understand what that meant. It wasn't, just like cupcakes. It wasn't just a freshly made cupcake with buttercream icing and toffee bits. It was cupcakes at Tiffany's. So it was just throwing me for a loop. But something that I found to be extremely helpful was Googling fragrance names and different notes. So when it came to things that I would see listed out in a scent description on a vendor wax company's page, it said cupcakes at Tiffany's, strawberry jam, and waffle cone, and I was confused about cupcakes at Tiffany's, I would literally Google cupcakes at Tiffany's fragrance oil, and then all of the notes of that specific oil would be listed. And this is another thing that you may find in different companies and different vendors. Sometimes they will list out all of those notes within Cupcakes at Tiffany's. However, sometimes they won't. They'll just list Cupcakes at Tiffany's because that is the fragrance oil that they are using. It is one singular fragrance oil with a lot of different blends within it. Another thing is a vendor might list out like creamy vanilla, coconut, and a touch of cherry. And that might actually be serendipity. So the best thing I think you guys could do is to take all of these names, even if it isn't a specific oil, if you are unsure if it is or if it isn't, definitely take that, add fragrance oil into, you know, the end of the name and just pop it into Google and see what it gives you, because that is what has saved me through a lot of confusion. So that's it for this video. Please leave me a thumbs up if you found any of this helpful. Go ahead and give me a thumbs down if you didn't, and let me know in the comments below what your questions might be if you have any more. The next topic I'm going to be covering is all about wax warmers, bulb warmers, hop light warmers, tea light warmers, the benefits, pluses and minuses of all of those. And then the following one, I'll be talking all about like changing wax and all that fun stuff like that. So I really hope you guys are enjoying this. Definitely subscribe if you like this kind of content, and stay tuned. Have an awesome day, you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.